If you are any of these ranks, then you are bad at TFT. But don't worry, I've been playing this game since it came out, and I'm here to reveal all of my secrets on how to get better at TFT in Set 17. I am kinda sick of every TFT content creator out there dropping the same tips to climb videos, or that you really need to play this one comp right now, because it's always made by someone who either plays 1,000 games a set or can hit Challenger with their eyes closed, and have never genuinely put themselves in the shoes of anyone in Emerald or below, and may even look down on them. I've spoken to countless low elo players who watch these videos, and they always get hit with advice like, oh, play strongest board, don't force, roll until stable. And look, if you're truly a gold player, hearing play strongest board is completely useless. Because yeah, no kidding, no one's actually trying to play bad boards. But if you ask any top streamer or player about how to climb out of silver, you get the same lazy answers every single time. Just VOD review, pick the right comps, you didn't have the right angle for this, why did you pick the wrong augment? And like, cool, extremely helpful. Not everyone plays 10 games of TFT every day, has all 63 champions memorized in combination with all 100 plus augments, best in slots for every champion, how the best in slots change for each and every comp based on the gods available, or what augments you got that game. By the way, there's a new patch every 2 weeks, and every comp that was formerly bad is now good, so you have to rememorize everything, but it makes it so that there's way too much stuff to know about in TFT. So if you're watching this, you're probably a casual to semi-serious TFT player who wants to rank up. Maybe you want that challenger icon, maybe you want to qualify for a TFT LAN, or maybe you're just trying to get a TFT girlfriend. But if you want to climb quickly in TFT, we all know that pro level and easily accessible coaching is the best way to do it. That's why we have Tap In GG, where you can connect with hand-verified pro coaches to help you climb through Duo Pilot or play with them through Double Up. And if you're already good at the game, there is also the option to find people to play with socially through gamer girls or gamer guys as well. These are some of the most affordable coaching options out there, and you can get paired up in as quickly as 2 minutes. Compare that to coaching sites where you have to schedule days in advance. If you're not satisfied, there's also a money-back guarantee and 24/7 support when you need it. Right now for Set 17, they're running a couple of bundle specials where you can get 3 games for $25, 5 for $40, or 10 for $65. And if you do sign up with the code BUNNYMUFFINS, you also get entered into a raffle to win a free coaching session or double up game with me. My promo code also gets you 20% off your next 3 orders, so sign up now using the link below. But whatever reason it is you want to climb, I can actually try to help you. I know how brutal Set 17 climbing feels right now, especially with the rank reset, but believe it or not, I was hard stuck back in the day too, and I had to climb through every single rank from the bottom of Iron all the way to Challenger, and back then there were no guides out there, so I kind of had to learn it all myself from scratch, which has given me a very good view on how to help everyone else do the same. So pretty much, if I could teach my 26-year-old jobless mom does his laundry still cousin get to Challenger, I can do the same for you too. I do have some bad news though. There's no magic comp or magic tip that suddenly gets everyone who hears it straight to Challenger. Everyone's got their own schedules, learning abilities, and desire to get better, so use what you get from this video at your own pace. But I'm about to cover common myths about TFT, about why you're hard stuck, how to get over that hump, and then give you actionable ways to actually improve you faster than everyone else. So the first thing we need to do is fix your brain, fix your mindset, and cover 2 very big low elo hard stuck myths. And the first one is, my lobbies are griefed and I get contested every single game. If you think this, don't worry. Like, literally every player has thought this before, regardless of their rank, and TFT games can be pretty frustrating. However, everyone has games where some guy contests you from the worst spot imaginable and you hold hands 7th and 8th. There are also times where you're in stage 2-1, you load up the game, and you also get 6 truly unclickable augments, or you're playing a cash out comp and you have the worst matchmaking imaginable, and then you get your whole game griefed as well. But in the long run, the amount of unfortunate games you get is really outweighed by normal variance games. Everyone's got unlucky games here and there, but this is not an accurate depiction of your average TFT game. So here's some bad news for you. If you're stuck at a rank, you are making mistakes that directly impact your placement. This applies from Iron all the way up to Challenger. If 7 other players are making average decisions every single game, and you're also making average decisions for your rank, you will not climb. So you can only climb when you're at least making slightly better decisions than every other player in your lobby on average. So if you're hard stuck and you're not at the rank that you want to be at yet, no matter how unlucky you get, you always have to try to make the best decision that you can. Because chances are, in a different game, your opponents are going to be in that same exact spot, and if they give up and you don't, you will climb. TFT is also a game that really rewards consistency So if you can consistently play cleaner than the rest of your opponents, climbing will come easily. Myth number 2 is I'm trapped in elo hell and I'm always unluckier than my opponents. And the myth of elo hell can actually be true, but not in the way you think. So if you really think about it, elo hell might just be where you're currently stuck. It's different for every person. Could be silver, could be emerald, could be 400 LPGM, could be 1000 LP challenger. But sometimes the reason it feels impossible to climb out of it is that it is impossible with your current perspective. So if you picture 2 TFT players, one consistently complaining, blaming the game for unfortunate circumstances, cursing at Mort Dog, and you compare that to someone who asks themselves, what could I have done differently? Who do you think is going to climb more consistently? Maybe today they're the same rank, but I can promise you it's the one that keeps asking themselves questions on what they could have done differently, who's going to come out on top in the next couple of months. TFT is a game with nearly infinite possibilities, so the players who are constantly willing to think outside the box and consider what potential upsides and downsides each of their actions have on the outcome of their game will always have an edge. But here are 2 key questions to ask yourself to develop this type of thinking, and it usually is something like, did I play the right line this game, and did I play my stage 1 and 2 correctly? A lot of what happens in the early game, 99% of your early games pretty much dictate the entire rest of your game, so asking these 2 questions have by far the highest impact of almost anything you can do. And yes, when you ask yourself these questions, you could answer it wrong, but if you don't start thinking about these on a game-per-game basis, you will not climb. You're just going to default and autopilot whatever's on a tier list and not know whether you actually went for it in the correct spot or not. So if you are guilty of not doing this, then yeah, I guess everyone would believe in elo hell. But now let's get into how to actually improve your play, since now we've improved our mindset. So I know it's a common tip, but reviewing your games truly is one of the best things to do. But the one thing a lot of other TFT content creators miss is that they forget that you have to do it actively. They just say review your games and they think everyone knows what to do. But a lot of players just don't know that. The reason why I know this is because I've actually talked to them and I've watched someone do a VOD review on their own, and they were doing it in the most inefficient way possible and kind of just wasting time while doing so. So first thing you need to do is download some sort of way to record your game, doesn't really matter which, and then start by looking at your stage 1. Did you buy the correct units and pairs that synergize with the components that you got already? Did you miss a potentially win-streaking upgrade? Do you even have an overall unit priority that you kind of follow? Stage 1 goes by very quickly, so when you do a VOD review, you have a setting where you have unlimited time to actually think about what the exact play should have been. Maybe in the moment you didn't see this certain unit in your shop. Maybe you're hoping to get the perfect item components in the next round when you really should have bought something else instead. But whatever the case is, the more you do this, the better your stage 2 is going to look, as you'll become more and more efficient and put yourself in on average stronger spots. Also, take some time to look at your 2-1 augment selection and see if it actually fits your current opener. Just because they're generically good augments doesn't mean it actually fits with what you have on your board. Did you take a scaling or lose streak augment when you had a bunch of upgrades? Did you take a tempo augment with a weak board? If you did both of those, you're probably not going to have a good game. So once you correct that, you'll be able to match your opener with your augment and have a recipe for a very easy winning game. Focusing and fixing just stage 1 and 2 will definitely net you more LP than anything else you can do in a VOD review. The reason why is because TFT has an almost butterfly-like effect where your decisions at this point live on with you for the rest of the game. Outside of stage 1 and 2 though, key points you should hone in on are the 3-2 and 4-2 augment selections, and whichever turn you roll down on. For example, stage 4-2 if fast state is common in that meta. Once you clean all these crucial points in your game, you will climb. Also, don't bother looking for things that went wrong outside of your control. Having to overroll or missing your carry is not something you can really control. You can only put yourself in the best position to hit a strong board. On the other hand, something in your control is having enough money to hit enough units, navigating the early game econ so that you have insurance money to play around with, or making sure you leveled at the right points and made as much interest as possible. Those are all things that are in your control, so you have to focus on that instead. Build good habits from the early game, and then the rest of your game is easier to pilot. By the way, in case you were looking for opener priorities, I do have an opener guide on the website bunnymuffins.lol/openers, where you can get a quick and dirty way to kind of learn this part of the game. The next tip we have is about fixing your fundamentals before you chase whatever's hot on that patch. So if you just spam one broken line and only learn that line, after it gets nerfed, you haven't really gotten much better at TFT, have you? So if you can't really explain in words why an interaction is broken, or you're simply parroting whatever you heard from a streamer, you should instead try to focus on your fundamentals. So understanding things like how the damage formula works, when to give or push tempo, what roles items serve, and what replacements fulfill that same role, or knowing the fundamentals on how to pick your augments when you need to go certain spots is going to be much more valuable to your improvement in climbing than knowing some random tech. So all those videos out there that are like, oh my god, play this comp right now. Yeah, if you play it, you might climb a couple of games, but once everyone knows the tech and it's contested, you're not going to be able to climb anymore. And also, by the way, next patch is going to get nerfed. So if you only learn how to play whatever's broken, you're never actually going to learn how to play the fundamental game of TFT. Now, don't get me wrong, if you are doing a last minute push, tech is valuable, but tech is temporary. Sets and patches change, but fundamentals are forever. If you learn the game once now, you don't have to do it for the rest of the time you play TFT. So if you are able to explain to yourself and others why an interaction is broken and game warping, you're going to be able to recognize these spots and replicate it in the future instead of relying on other people to tell you. So you might even discover other comps that other people don't know yet, or be able to make the best of whatever situation you get in that game, because there are always those weird games of TFT which are pretty much one of a kind, and having fundamental knowledge on how to navigate those games can be as big of a difference as 80 LP per time that happens. Lastly, I think a lot of players care a bit too much about their rank. Rank really doesn't matter. I've had a lot of people tell me like, oh, what's considered high elo? And the answer you get is going to be different depending on who you ask. It's normally 1 or 2 tiers above whatever that person is. If you ask a silver player what's high elo, they're going to say gold. If you ask a diamond player, they're going to say master. If you ask a top 10 player, they're going to say the world champion is high elo. But the rank honestly really doesn't matter. If you are good at the game, you will climb. But then what happens with your rank perception is that it's just going to keep moving up and up and up and up. And that's not a bad thing, but we have to focus on the bigger picture here. What actually matters? If you want to get better at TFT, then yeah, focus on getting better. The rank is like something that's completely outside of that. There's also the component of fun when you're playing a video game too. But normally when you're winning, you are kind of having more fun, right? So the easiest way to do that is going to be through kind of fixing your mindset a little bit. So again, whenever you're playing, you got to focus on stuff that is in your control, such as how you can improve instead of thinking about how unlucky you got every single game. A lot of times when I'm having more fun in TFT, I might not climb as much, but I do learn a lot more about the game. For example, the reason why rank doesn't matter is because if you take really fun augments, like yeah, they're probably not going to be as good as the consistent ones. But the thing is, if you experiment a lot and take those weird augments, you'll know eventually when they are actually going to be good. So a couple of games down the line, even though your rank might be a little lower than it would be if you did a bunch of cookie cutter builds every single game, you'll have more TFT knowledge because you paid the LP tax. And because TFT is a very knowledge-based game and is quite complex, not being afraid of losing in order to learn something is a tactic that not a lot of people use. But pretty much when I say rank doesn't matter, I mean it in a sense that it shouldn't affect how you approach the game or how you think about it. And I always encourage people to look at the bigger picture. If you're tilt queuing a lot, you're probably not having that much fun, and in those cases, you're not going to try to learn as much as you could. That's why, again, if you want to get better long-term in TFT, you should be experimenting and also just try to have fun when you're doing it. But pretty much, it's my genuine belief that anyone can climb in this set, even if you're hard stuck, iron right now. Pretty much any elo is on the table. I know some people that played the game, one set, got to Emerald, then next set they got to Challenger. All you really have to do is just keep improving every single game. Ask yourself good questions after every game, focus on things that are actually in your control, and think of all the factors that can change for yourself in the future. But I also do have a ton of resources on my website, bunnymuffins.lol, to kind of give a baseline to help people climb. But there we cover things like tier lists, openers, artifact guides, item guides, gods guides, pretty much everything under the sun. And if you want to get even deeper into the weeds, I also do have a data site called teamfight.lol, where you can do some deep research and apply a more mathematical approach to the game. But I do hope that everyone enjoyed this video. But if you learned something, drop a comment down below. What's your current rank? What are you trying to get? Just so I could diagnose exactly where everyone is. And also, if you do know someone who is hard stuck, send them this video. Maybe it helps them, or maybe don't send it to them if you want them to stay hard stuck. But that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.